You're watching HSTV and we're here at Bletchley Park on this fantastic day where they're commemorating the code breaking that went on here 70 years ago during World War II. With me are two very important people and I'm extremely honoured to have them here. It's Oliver and Sheila Lawn. Welcome to HSTV.
Thank you.
That's okay. First off, you two met here, is that right?
We met here in the Scottish Reels Club. We were both fond of Scottish reels, and there was a very active Scottish Reels Club here. Sheila is Scottish, I'm partly Scottish. We enjoyed Scottish reels and we'd both joined the Scottish Reels Club, and that is how we met.
Okay, so now I know that everybody working here signed the Official Secrets Act, but when did you actually get married?
Not until 1948. I had to finish my qualifications. Oliver had to get a job and settle into that. And it was 1948 before we actually got married.
But you've been together as a couple since being at Bletchley, is that right?
Yes, we have indeed.
Okay.
Well, after marriage, because he was in England, I was in Scotland for 2 or 3 years before we actually got married.
Okay, I see.
And we last year celebrated our diamond wedding.
Wow, 50 years.
60 years.
60 years. Oh, what's 50?
Golden.
Golden, that's golden. 60
we had
years,
that
blimey.
before.
Oh, yeah, you've already been there, done that one.
Yeah,
okay. So I understand though that even though you both knew you were working here at Bletchley, you never actually talked to each other about what it is that you did. Is that correct?
That is correct, because we both signed the Official Secrets Act. We worked in different sections. Therefore, we didn't know anything about each other's work, although we knew each other personally. Mm-hmm. And that was true, of course, of every other section in the park. We never knew what anybody else did here until the books started coming out 30 years later. And we realised that we could inquire and talk and read and learn more about what they did then.
Was there ever a temptation to want to go back and talk about what you've been doing because you just need to release a bit of pressure at the end of the day?
Nothing at all. Nothing, no temptation at all. That just went in right down to the bottom, as it were, of our beings. And it emerged finally, particularly when we paid our first visit here. And of course we've been very interested in the books and learnt so much from them.
Okay, so just going into a little bit of detail. Oliver, you were a code breaker, so what did that actually mean?
I was a mathematician and recruited as a code breaker, straight from Cambridge, and worked here on the German Enigma codes used by the German Army and Air Force. And I worked there from 1940 to 1945 in Hut 6, which is still there, and moving halfway through the war to Block D, which is adjacent, and it's a rather larger building than Hut 6 was.
Hut 6 is the famous hut, though, isn't it?
Hut 6, we called ourselves Hut 6 even if we'd moved.
And Hut 3, which was the intelligence, and they used the information which was decoded.
Okay, and then Sheila, what did you do?
I was on hand codes sent out by coastal batteries, radio stations along the channel.
Okay.
And they would report this, that and the next thing. And then I simply decoded, they would change from time to time, translated and awaited for some of them to be taken away.
Okay, and did either of you have any idea? Obviously you knew that you were involved in something extremely important, but I guess maybe it wasn't until after the war that you knew just what the impact was of what you've been doing, or did you have an idea at the time?
We had virtually no idea at the time of the importance of the information coming from code breaking collectively, till the books came out. And then the historians reckoned that this had probably shortened the war by 2 years, which we were, of course, completely ignorant of. And, of course, delighted that we'd been part of this huge operation, which had had such huge importance.
I think one thing that is important though is that now you're starting to get the recognition. It's really starting to sink into like the public consciousness as a whole of just how much work you did here and how important it was. Would you agree that that's kind of finally coming to you?
Well, we were extremely encouraged by the interest shown by people and by people coming here and telling us that it was so enjoyable and so much to see. And it's very nice to be recognised along with many other people who did similar quiet jobs and got on with the job and didn't know until very, very recently. So it is very pleasant. It is very pleasant.
Now it's very nice to be able to share with so many people, with talks or media or whatever, what we did. That has been a great stimulus to both of us over recent years. because anybody appreciates an enthusiastic audience. And we've had many, many enthusiastic audience, which to any speaker is a great stimulus. So for the last 10 years or so, we've been greatly stimulated by the showing of the public interest which there has been.
I think what's happening is people are just becoming more and more aware of just how important it was, and the challenges you faced as well. You know, with the 3 reel and the 4 reel enigmas, and you know, and with the hand codes as well, which is probably giving the cribs to the other guys.
Oh yes, yes.
Ask, but it's impossible.
Oh, codes. The Germans put one code into another sometimes, and that was a great help. So the simpler codes sometimes helped the more complicated codes, and sometimes vice versa. So there was a certain amount of code-to-code translation.
It's fantastic. Right, well, I think that's about all we've got time for, because HRH of Kent is turning up in a second, isn't he?
That's right,
So,
okay.
Mrs. Lawn, thank you very much.
Thank you
Mr.
very
Lawn,
much. Fine.
thank you very, very much. You've been watching Hexas TV, and these are a code-breaking duo extraordinaire. Check back soon for more from Bletchley Park.